I would flash back to that moment for years, just seeing myself in the mirror, just almost feeling like I was detached from the person that I was looking at.
For years, 27-year-old Tucker Coburn has been haunted by his experiences with his urologist, Dr. Darius Paduch.
Did you trust him?
I don't know. I at least felt like he was an expert in that field, and I didn't have any reason to doubt that.
Paduch was a renowned specialist at Weill Cornell Medical Center. Coburn, who has a genetic condition that affects his hormones, had no reason to believe his doctor could be a predator in a white coat.
He would fondle me in exams and things like that. I knew that it was weird. He presented in a way that it was like sort of medically appropriate.
Then in 2016, after Coburn turned 18,
there was an appointment where I had some abdominal pain, and then he came over and assaulted or abused me.
Was there a part of you trying to almost lie to yourself, like, maybe this is a medical procedure?
I think at that point I knew that was crossing
the line.
Yeah, crossing many lines. Like he was trying to press himself against me and to like demonstrate sexual arousal. Nothing of that is what a doctor should be doing.
While Paduch was not charged with allegedly abusing Coburn, Coburn did testify at the criminal trial. Paduch was convicted for sexually abusing several patients at Weill Cornell and Northwell Health in New York.
The real Dr. Paduch is a very, very sick, sadistic individual who hurt a ton of people for his own gratification.
Attorney Mallory Allen represents 140 men, including Coburn, in civil cases which allege that the hospitals enabled the abuse and failed to stop it.
He would not have the access to patients, right, without his position that he had at these institutions, right? This is not a man who was able to abuse hundreds, if not thousands of patients in a vacuum.
Did they know this abuse was happening?
Yes, unquestionably, they knew this abuse was happening.
How do you explain it?
It feels inexplicable, right? I fear the answer is going to be that the hospital put profits over patients.
So you're saying that you think these hospital chains employed a sexual predator knowing he was dangerous just to make money?
I think if that's not the answer, I can't think of what is.
According to former patients, their lawyers, and court filings, Weill Cornell Medical Center received at least 5 complaints accusing Dr. Darius Paduch of a range of inappropriate behavior and sexually charged remarks between 2006 and 2018. In 2018, a patient who asked us to identify him by his initials, BR, filed a complaint with New York's health department in which he reported that in 2006 at Weill Cornell, Paduch required that BR touch himself in front of him, showed BR photographs of other men's bodies, and asked about his taste in pornography. About 9 months after BR's complaint,
there's an email from 2018 which an employee basically says that there have been complaints about Paduch for 10 years. What do you have to say to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's shocking. They recognize themselves that, hey, this is something that we've been dealing with for 10 years. I mean, it's inexcusable.
Paduch continued working at Weill Cornell until 2020. But after Paduch left that hospital, he got a job at Northwell Health.
I know that we're not alone.
Where he continued seeing patients, even after Coburn sent a handwritten letter to Northwell Health urging the hospital to investigate its recent hire.
The investigation found both you and Dr. Paduch to be credible. The claims were not substantiated, and that a male nurse practitioner would be present during sensitive physical examinations whenever possible moving forward. Is it a slap in the face to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's odd to say that.
They believe you,
right?
But
It's credible, but they're going to keep. Yeah, it's infuriating.
Then, about 6 months later, an internal memo shows that Northwell investigated Paduch a second time after an ultrasound tech alleged that Paduch was using inappropriate, often sexual language in front of staff and patients. That complaint was substantiated.
I mean, it seems crazy that you would continue to investigate someone and have all these claims piling up and still not do anything.
Northwell Health said in a statement that they were deeply disturbed by what was revealed during Darius Paduch's criminal trial. Dr. Paduch abused his position of trust as a medical provider, betraying his patients and their families and misleading the Northwell community. Weill Cornell says that it has made changes, including launching expanded chaperone policies in 2023 and adding prominent signage and additional documentation procedures in order to minimize the risk of such abhorrent conduct occurring in the future.
I sincerely hope that Dr. Paduch no longer assaults his patients, but hope isn't enough.
Now that Paduch is behind bars, Coburn hopes he can finally achieve justice and healing.
I think that for me, the shame was more just that it happened in general. It took me a long time to realize that I hadn't done anything wrong.
If you could go back and talk to yourself when you were 17 or 18, and maybe give that kid advice, what would you wish someone had told you?
I think that I wish I had known that it was okay to stand up for myself rather than just sitting there and suffering. I would want to let myself know that it was okay and it wasn't my fault.
Several of the men who filed lawsuits told us they are still waiting for accountability from the hospitals that employed Dr. Paduch for about 2 decades, despite the complaints they had received. In court filings, the hospitals have denied allegations of negligence or misconduct.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.